Hello and welcome back to Coin Lady channel. We'll spend some time discussing the Great Reset, but I'll also demonstrate the current state of the banking system. Check it out. One of the WEF elite is needed to help move the Great Reset along more quickly. Global leaders have been issued an urgent call to action by the World Economic Forum to devise plans to hasten the implementation of the forum's Grand Reset globalist agenda. Later this year, a shadowy, corporate-led group of influential world figures will convene to speed up the World Economic Forum's plans to establish a Marxist-based society in which ruling governments will regulate the availability of all basic necessities like food, clothing, and shelter, and everyone will be expected to work for the common good. It seems they want to turn things up a notch. Perhaps they're starting to worry about recent events. Humanity's greatest and most dangerous opponent is, however, Klaus Schwab, with his book on COVID-19 and the Great Reset World Economic Forum. Most individuals who hear about the Great Reset are under the impression that it is a conspiracy idea, which is the weirdest thing of all. It's no longer a hypothesis when someone is writing a book and saying, "This is what we're going to do." This is a proven fact. It was happening all the time, and it was plain to see. Look at the state of our country now. I'm going to embed a video now, and this video is exactly why I can't stand the Build Back Better movement. This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Now is our opportunity to fix things properly and rebuild. Now is our chance to make a positive impact on the world's future. This is a chance we can't pass up because it won't last forever. This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance. We have a once-in-a-lifetime chance to reflect and reset, but time is running out quickly. Use this time to your advantage and construct a new international order that better serves the needs of a 21st century civilization. Put simply, you betrayed us to globalism. You are not an employee of Canada. You're serving the interests of the globalists who hired you. I'm curious as to how much money they are offering you to sell out Canada. In Canada, how do we deal with traitors? Formerly, Mr. Trudeau, treason was punishable by death by hanging. You're doing the same thing to us, and it's not cool. We have figured out your plan. The global epidemic has created a fresh start. This is the big reset. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make changes that will shape the course of history. Our world needs to be rethought, rebuilt, redesigned, revitalized, and rebalanced, and we must do everything in our power to make that happen. Improved after a return from COVID. We stand to gain enormous advantages. Here's the deal, though, we can't let this opportunity slip through our fingers. We can't allow this occur since it's happening before our eyes. Keep it in mind. We now have blockchain technology, which represents a major step forward for technology. I started turning it up around the globe. In all likelihood, artificial intelligence will eventually replace human workers. Also, they're persistent in their pursuit of a universal basic income. And when you consider the state of this country now, I find the phrase "Build Back Better" to be particularly abhorrent. Dollars in oil, fatalities, a crisis on the southern border, fentanyl poisonings, and a lack of ammunition. The pullout from Afghanistan was a bust. What else did Build Back Better give us? Weaponized alphabet agencies, a crime wave, awakened companies, an increase in China's global influence, digital dollar inflation. You don't have to seek very hard to find these things. You need only look around at any big city in this country to see that. This very second. There is a large homeless population here, and crime is rising at an alarming rate. Furthermore, we are aware that they will develop a digital dollar. With a 1.1% quarterly expansion, the US economy badly underperformed expectations. Let me tell you something, I think the figure is a bit high. It was most likely much worse. In addition, nothing can flourish because of the high cost of materials and the inability to obtain several necessities due to a broken supply chain. In this country, infrastructure projects are not even being started. What little wealth we have is leaving the country at a frightening rate. Next, consider this. To acquire First Republic, FDIC has contacted major banks. This is the current situation. I believe the World Economic Forum is moving into this next stage. Someone acquainted with the situation has reported that the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation has approached banks about their interest in purchasing First Republic, hinting that regulators plan to seize this San Francisco lender soon. Some of the same banks that stepped in to save First Republic in March when it had $30 billion in uninsured deposits are being contacted by the FDIC. This week, the banks reportedly balked at providing a second rescue for fear that the First Republic would be seized regardless. In particular, JP Morgan Chase and PNC Bank. This is actually part of the plan for the current trend of bank mergers. Many financial institutions will fail at once at some point. They want it to be a catastrophe, and it will be. They are finally ready to introduce Fed. Silicon Valley Bank, Silvergate Bank, Signature Bank, First Republic Bank, and Credit Suisse are just some of the banks that have failed since March. Of the four are American financial institutions. People in this country are still under the impression that the banking system is improving. The public continues to have faith in the system. The Treasury Department further reassures the public that bank deposits are secure. Politicians are actively advocating for this, too. They know these banks are risky, but they don't care if their customers lose money. However, things aren't improving, either. Jim Cramer speculates that the end of the banking crisis may have come with the failure of First Republic Bank. And let's all take a close look at that, since the exact opposite of what Jim Cramer predicts always occurs. The banking crisis will continue even after this. We're just getting started here. The challenges with the current payment system have been brought to light by Silicon Valley Bank and FedNo. You see how suddenly we need FedNo to resolve this issue. Quicker payments are required. Later on in this video, we'll delve deeper into FedNo and the role Ripple will play in XRP. The end of Liberty has come. The Fed officially started digital dollar testing on November 15, 2022. Big names in banking like Citigroup, HSBC, MasterCard, and Wells Fargo will soon be joining them. With the introduction of the digital dollar, all of your finances will be managed by the government, which is inextricably linked to the largest banks. This is because the larger banks will just gobble up the smaller ones if they fail. This, I swear to you, is all a part of the master plan. The US dollar has fallen 10 times faster over the past 2 decades. The US dollar is about to get hit like a brick. That's also the story of China's ascent and the United States' decline. That's also something that elitists like George Soros discuss. Look at this. However, the current system has failed, and we simply haven't noticed it yet. As a result, you'll have to make a brand new one. And now is the perfect time to act. Here in the good old USA. Do you fear inflation and or the government's inability to pay its bills? Given that the US economy will continue to be relatively weak, it is only fair that its value falls relative to other currencies. The United States customer will be replaced by Chinese buyers. However, the Chinese economy makes this new mortar considerably smaller. As a result, the global economy will be less mortared. In this scenario, progress will be slower than it has been during the past 25 years, but China will be the engine driving it ahead, and the United States will be a drag that is being pushed along by a gradual drop in the value of the dollar. That's why no one mentions the BRICS countries' plan to challenge the US dollar. They're trying to keep you in the dark about their true intentions. Because of this, the current events in China and Russia are completely ignored. It's all part of the same plan that our government is advocating for, so they just sit back and watch it happen. And, eventually, everything will unfold to this point. I've said it many times in videos, but I'll never buy a chip. But what this young lady did is incredible. Look at this. The microchip I implanted in my arm is fantastic. This microchip packs a lot of punch. It holds all of my essentials, from credit cards and identification documents to medical records and house keys. And when it's time to stock up on essentials, a simple flick of the wrist does the trick. Arrangement finalized. I can only compare it to magic. It could be crucial in the event of a medical emergency. My medical history and identity are readily apparent to specialists. It's like being a sci-fi hero, and I love it. You can get this fantastic chip for nothing. Indeed, you are correct. Put away your wallet and purse. The nicest aspect is that the procedure itself doesn't take long. After that, you'll get a cookie. You could think she's making a pitch to convince you to buy the chip. This video was her next move after that. My bank account was frozen by the government, and it can do the same to yours. Time is running out, so please listen to my story as quickly as possible. A few days ago, I warned my followers on social media about a potential downside to getting an Xrp implant in my arm. I honestly believed I was just expressing my First Amendment rights. The nightmare began this morning when I woke to find that the video I had uploaded had been deleted. My arm's embedded microchip malfunctioned just as I tried to pay for my coffee. I had no money and couldn't buy anything. When I returned to my flat, I found that I had been locked out as well. My cat, Misty, and I found everything we lost. That's why I wanted to buy this movie to serve as both a warning and an appeal for assistance. She probably meant to illustrate the negative consequences of acquiring the chip rather than the positive ones. They are going to market it to consumers in the United States and elsewhere. They will eventually tell you that using this chip will make your life easier. Take a look at how simple it is to manage all of your health information. There will most likely be a plethora of infomercials surrounding it. For example, if you were in an accident and rendered unconscious, your medical information might still be obtained without even having to communicate with you. You have a far easier time making purchases than you would with cash. Every single step of the process will be sold. However, as that girl demonstrated in the second video, they can easily cut off your funds if they don't agree with what you have to say. To replace crypto and promote CBDCs, the government apparently thinks FedNo is a good idea. FedNo can truly devalue Bitcoin, as they keep saying, and I think that's the plan. Also, I think Christine Lagarde spoiled the ending when she said Bitcoin wouldn't matter much in the future. However, she stays silent on the subject of the other cryptocurrencies and FedNo. It's important to remember that Volante is collaborating with FedNo, which means Ripple is involved and that RippleNet is likely to be the technology powering it, despite widespread belief to the contrary. Additionally, when you know, you know. There will always be a need for a trust layer and liquidity in every jurisdiction, making Xrp a necessity as the global bridge currency regardless of the underlying technology. Meanwhile, a crisis in available funds is on the horizon. That seems to be lost on everyone. And when it does, Xrp will be widely accepted. Because Ripple owns the patent on it, it will be widely adopted. Therefore, they will be without a feasible option from which to select or devise. Furthermore, I believe FedNo will ultimately be unsuccessful. Furthermore, I do not like CBDCs. If that happens, I hope they revert to the present system or one backed by gold so that Xrp may still be used for international transactions. They could still use the RippleNet system to process those payments more quickly. There are a lot of possible possibilities, you know. One thing I am certain of, though, we have to put a halt to the WEF rhetoric. And everything seems to be happening at this very moment. Look at this. The BRICS countries are finally making a move against the US dollar. Financial institutions are going under when they merge into larger institutions. That's also taking place at this same moment. Despite the fact that many of the things they advocate for are in place, many people dismiss them as conspiracy theories. Get some sleep, because it's becoming late. This concludes my commentary on this topic for this video. I appreciate everyone who has tuned in. Thanks to everyone who has seen my videos. Please like and subscribe my channel. See you later, bye.